Well, let's get more on the trading action in Europe with our correspondent in Brussels, David Keating. Great to have you on the programme, Dave. So we're just hearing now that the EU Commission is proposing counter-tariffs on a range of US imports at 25%.
Yes, exactly. So this is actually the retaliation for the earlier tariffs, the steel and aluminium tariffs that Trump had announced 2 months ago. Those are 25% tariffs on steel and aluminium. At that time, the Commission proposed this retaliation and drew up this list, but it was waiting for feedback from European companies and European national governments. So this is basically left over, and it really doesn't come close to the retaliation that would be needed for this latest tariff, which would be a blanket tariff of 20% set to go into effect on Wednesday. So these tariffs are worth 26 billion euros. That's the amount of goods that they would hit. By the Commission's own estimate, reportedly, the tariffs that will take effect on Wednesday, the blanket across the board 20% tariff, will hit 380 billion euros. So clearly a 26 billion euro package of retaliatory tariffs isn't going to make a difference here. I think the big question is whether the Commission is going to try to sell this or project this as being a retaliation for Wednesday's tariffs, even though this was already announced a month ago in retaliation for the previous round. That would signal to me that the Commission does not intend to move forward with strong retaliation now for the 20% tariffs that are coming on Wednesday.
And meanwhile, Dave, we've had European stocks plunge to their lowest in more than a year today.
Yes, so this is obviously something that people are watching very closely here. I think that essentially the markets and the Commission are in the same place here. Nobody knows whether these tariffs that have been announced last week are the start of a negotiation or Trump is intending to put them through no matter what. Today we had this announcement from Commission President von der Leyen offering a 0 tariff rate on industrial goods. I don't think the Trump administration is going to be very impressed with that because the actual tariffs that the EU applies on U.S. industrial imports is 1.6%. That's all that the Commission could offer to take away. But according to the Trump administration, the tariffs are 39%. That's because what they're putting on the table, the so-called reciprocal tariffs, are in retaliation for the trade deficit that the U.S. has with the EU. Of course, that's only taking half of the picture that they're doing. They're only looking at the goods, not at the services for which the U.S. has a trade surplus. But this 1.6% is not going to be anywhere near the 20%. So I don't see that as an offer that the Trump administration is likely to accept because they're calculating these tariffs based on something totally different, frankly, things that are not tariffs. And so this wouldn't take that away. That being said, there are 10% tariffs on automobile imports. And when asked today, the EU's trade chief said that as part of this 0 thing that could include automotive tariffs, that's 10%. That's maybe a bit more interesting. But again, we don't have any signal from the White House that they are ready to negotiate here, that they're ready to pause. We had the rumors out today that made the stock market fall, start to even out. Then when those rumors were denied by the White House, we saw the stock markets crashing again. Clearly, again, both the markets and the EU are just not sure whether the White House is willing to negotiate right now.
Dave, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed there. Dave Keating reporting live there from Brussels.